Here comes the Spud man, he goes down easy. He calls to you who, the social outcast. Yes, you who are rejected. He wants you, he needs you, he loves you. Here comes the Spud man, he goes down easy. Here comes the Spud man.
It's the Spud Goodman Show. Let's get ready to rumble. And here he is, the head cheese meister. It's Spud Goodman.
Greetings, Anaola. I am Spud Goodman.
The Spud man.
Welcome to the other Spud Goodman Show. Now, you may ask, what's the big difference with this show from your radio program? Good question. I'll be honest with you. It's mostly just that you can see our faces on the screen. And now that I think of it, that might not be a real strong selling point. I mean, there's a reason people go into radio rather than TV. I mean, it's no secret. It's mostly due to bad freaking hair. I mean, something I can relate to. I mean, have you ever seen like a national or local host or news anchor wearing a hat? No, you haven't. Yeah, so. But anyway, let's move on and let me introduce our show's designated laugher, my Aunt Dorothy. Can you give us a decent chuckle?
Okay, here you go.
Well, it's passable. Do you think you could raise your game a bit as we get into the show? Because, I had heard better chuckles from you.
Again, Spud, I'm a volunteer designated laugher. You get what you pay for.
Okay, I get it. All right, good point. Okay, and now I'm required to introduce our show's temporary permanent co-host, Gerald Holcomb. Go ahead and acknowledge my acknowledgement. In a timely manner, if you would. Be brief and succinct. You have 7 seconds.
Well, in the past, you've allotted me 4 seconds, so I guess I should be grateful, as I am.
Well, thank you for your input. Now I need to introduce our show's intern, Chance. And according to management, I'm supposed to say this now. He is the most popular person on this program. Okay, there I said it. Okay, all right. Hey, I see you on the screen, Chance, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned with what you're wearing. We've discussed on this show, your involvement with the furry community in the past, but I thought since you got engaged to my aunt, that you promised to her that you'd put that part of your life behind you. What? Have you relapsed?
Dorothy is now okay with my involvement in the community. We came to an agreement in our pre-marriage counseling sessions. Our therapist felt I should be able to explore all aspects of my id.
That's right.
Well, I'm no therapist, but I have some experience exploring my id, and it messed up a few marriages, You better not cheat on my Aunt Dorothy. That's all I'm saying here.
Well, Chance will be with me whenever he explores where his id will take him. And trust me, when he's with the other furries at the convention, I plan on just not even letting him out of my sight for a minute. With that said, I totally trust him.
Mrs. Jarvis, you know how I feel about this thing Chance has gotten involved with. It can only end with both of you going down Satan's rabbit hole. As I
Look, dude. We don't have time for you to cast out any demons here, okay? I have a guest to interview, if you don't mind. Can someone see if the engineer, Trevor, is awake in the studio? As I need him to put through our guest, Anthony Antamanuik, all right? Right now. I've always wanted to get this guy on the show. He's like the world's best Donald Trump impersonator. And now I was kind of wondering what the heck he's doing these days, given that the man formerly known as the president is now coming out of witness protection, at Mar-a-Lago, his fake Hearst castle.
Yeah, wait. You're about to interview someone who impersonated the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. Laugh if you want to, but I've never understood how so many impersonators could get away with pretending to be our prior commander-in-chief. they were often very mean to him.
Meaner than saying Obama wasn't born in the U.S.? Or
Well, we don't know on that.
Meaner than saying flying Ted Cruz's wife was not attractive? Or worst of all, meaner than saying he doesn't like dogs?
I believe Donald Trump is a cat person.
No, he has said he's never had a pet in his whole life. Ever. What a dick.
You dick!
I texted Trevor in the studio. He said he's wide awake and ready to put our guest through.
Let me see him on the screen. Trevor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Oh, studio.
Fine.
I'm working hard.
Really? I mean, I don't mind you playing video games on your breaks, but, not when you're needed for, like, essential duties. Can you put our guest through, please?
Yeah, of course I can.
Okay. Can you do it now?
Yeah, give me a sec.
All right, say hello to actor, writer, and comedian Anthony Antamanuik. Hey, man, thanks for coming on our show.
Thanks for having me on, Spud. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you have a varied career, which we will talk about in a bit, but you are the top Donald Trump impersonator in the world, okay? For those who are not aware, here's a clip from your old Comedy Central program, The President Show.
Sir, the House is talking impeachment.
Houses don't talk, you dummy.
Don't
Yell at me. Russia stabs me in the back. My allies betray me. Spicer, Bannon, Kushner rights. No one understands my struggle.
All right, then. Okay, super. Anthony, what I wanted to speak with you about was, like, you're in a very select company with, say, Von Meter, who exquisitely portrayed JFK, David Frost, who impersonated Richard Nixon, Daryl Hammond, prior guest on our show, who did a great Bill Clinton, Steve Bridges, who took on George W. Bush, Reggie Brown, that guy who did Obama quite well, and now you. So, with Donald Trump. So your clips will live on in history. When some kid in, say, 2068 checks out Trump on YouTube, you will probably come up for sure. What are your feelings, about your work at this point in your career?
Well, I'll be dead probably by then, actually. But
that's a good point.
2068. Now I might still be alive. I'm Italian. I've got good genes. But I'll probably be there. Well, it's interesting because Daryl also did an incredible Donald Trump.
Yes, he did.
So I guess in terms of like keeping that company, it's interesting. I did an interview for with I forget his name, but I did an interview for ABC News about Von Meter. It's interesting because you have a variation of people. There's impressions and there's impersonators, right? And there's sort of the spectrum in between. So it's interesting because Von Meter, he had only been doing open mics for about 8 months. He didn't have a really good stand-up set. He was not actually particularly funny or well-received or known. He could do this incredible Kennedy, and it was actually a group of other people who basically wrote for him, propped him up, and then recorded that album. So Meter is a very sad story in a way because he was sort of pulled from his beginnings in comedy and sort of thrown up to this level where this is one of the top-selling albums of all time, and in comedy. And and then I think it really hurt, as he said in an interview later, someone approached him and said, "I'm sorry," when Kennedy was assassinated, and it's hard because I think in later interviews you see him defensive of his career, but I think it short-circuited his career. I think I'm the almost inverse of Von Meter in the sense that I had been doing improv and, doing bit parts on TV shows and writing things for, probably 15 years at that point. Mm-hmm. I didn't even expect to have what happened kind of happen. I had no expectations, no stake in the outcome, that sort of thing. So for me, it was very much, I went into it very clear eyes and a clear head. Open eyes, clear head, I guess, So I sort of saw the writing on the wall in terms of what it means to do a political impression and maybe where it boxes you in. And also Trump is, particularly such an Elvis of an impression. It's such a Shatner of an impression. Everybody does one. So it was more about what did I bring to the table to make it maybe more unique. And I would add that James Adomian's George W. Bush was really a definitive one as well, as well as his Bernie Sanders.
Right. Well, I think you guys worked together with that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We worked together a little bit.
Yeah. I asked this question of our resident psychic, Mr. Ted Marr. He's kind of connected to I don't know what element of reality he's connected to, but anyway, do you think that our former president will burn in hell for eternity, or just hang out, in purgatory for a few centuries? What do you think?
It's funny. I do a podcast called Live from Hell with Ronald Reagan. That's on my Patreon, so you can only get it if you go to my Patreon. And it's I do Reagan doing because Reagan used to be a radio host, when he was making his conversion. So I do Reagan interviewing people who are either in hell or going to hell. And I actually interviewed myself. I did. I have other guests, but I did Trump preparing to go to hell. So it's funny you asked that question, because I actually have a 45-minute podcast where you could hear that.
Say where it's at. Say where it's at.
It's at patreon.com/TheRealTony. There's $5. You can listen to all 5 back episodes. We have John Gemberling, and we do have Dana Carvey will be coming up, actually, doing a bit there. But so I would say that if there is a hell, I would say that Donald Trump is in a hell of his own making, and he's taken that hell and expanded it to all of us.
Well, I also read that you, and maybe this is BS or not, that you worked with Suzanne Summers. Now, she has also been a guest on our show. And let me just say this. I got to ask you, was it ever difficult for you to get in a word edgewise when you had a conversation with her? Because I was able to get in like a hello and thank you when it was over. She took total control. I had planned to get in a couple uhs and rights, but I just didn't have a chance. How about you in the working situation?
Well, was Alan there? Was her husband Alan there?
Just her.
That's a shock. Alan's always sort of very close by. Well, I worked for her son Bruce, and for her Out of the Family. So they had a family office, and Bruce ran a production company that made commercials. And Suzanne, I would deal with from time to time, mostly retrieving wine from her wine cellar. Yes, she was very talkative and very kind. That was a very sort of rough period in my youth. I don't think that job ended particularly well. I think I actually lost like $1,000 in cash. They used to let you go around with per diem money to buy for them, and I lost the envelope. And of course, then they were like, "Did you steal the envelope?" They confronted me. I was like, "No, I didn't. I have no idea where it is." Dang. And then I think I got let go from that job. And about 8 months later, I was packing to get ready to leave LA, and I pull up my wheel well, and in my trunk, I was making sure everything was set for the car to get shipped back to the Boston. And I picked up the bottom where the spare tire was, and underneath the spare tire was the envelope.
Whoa.
So it turns out it had slipped under there and been there. So I had this envelope with $1,000 in there, and I went, well, fuck it. I said, why bother returning it now? So I guess I should admit, I'm admitting I stole from Suzanne Summers.
Well, did she, as a parting gift, did she at least give you a Thigh Master when you left?
I did write copy for Buttmaster. That was one of my jobs. Yeah, you're digging real deep into my my youth.
It's my job. I'm a journalist.
I know, but yeah.
Actually, I'm not. I'm just a freaking talk show host. But anyway.
But these are all my LA stories. Those are all my LA stories for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you got stuff to do, so just let me close with this, all right? Since I can't ask him directly. And yeah, just one last thing about our former president. Answer this, please. If you could, channel him if you could for a sec. Mr. Trump, will you finally concede and just say you lost? Better late than never. It's not hard. I lost. You don't have to say I'm a loser or anything. Just I lost. Can you give it a try, please?
Okay. I lost nothing. I lost nothing. I'm sorry. Let me do it again. Excuse me. I lost my keys to my pool cabana. All right, one more time. I lost my DVD copy of Lost. It's my favorite show. That's the best.
Okay,
That's the best he could do.
nothing.
He can't. You're gonna have to clip it. I think he cannot say it. He can't do
I
it.
guess not. All right.
Can't do it.
Well, I know you got to get going. So let me say again, everyone can find you on Instagram at Tony Antamanuik,
Yes.
on Twitch at Shatty Fatty, and
Yeah.
your podcast, Coffee with Tony. Is that correct?
Yes, that's patreon.com/TheRealTony. That's where you can see Live from Hell with Ronald Reagan. I can't believe you brought that up. That's so funny that you brought up that hell thing because, that's a little thing I do. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. There you have it, Mr. Anthony Antamanuik.
This is the Spud Goodman Show.
Hey, Spud, can I ask if you're going to book a Biden impersonator? Because I think that would only be fair.
No, that would be boring as hell. Biden is blander than plain oatmeal.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
And that's just fine with me and, the majority of voters in this country. What, he win by like 7 million votes? And hopefully we've learned our lesson about electing a sociopathic proud guy as president.
Well, I know a number of my female friends are still fond of him. Of course, they have horrible taste in men. Oh my God, he wears more makeup than any woman I know.
All right, now listen, there is nothing wrong with a man using a bit of bronzer, and I've used a bit of it myself over the years.
And you make fun of my involvement with the furry community, Gerald. I have more testosterone in my little finger than you have coursing through your whole body.
Oh, well.
Chill, you guys. All right, it's time for me to introduce our musical guest. So, Trevor, I don't see you right now. Okay, fine. I need you to help me out here, all right?
I mean, I'm kind of on a break right now. What do you need?
Can you play the musical guest video that I picked out personally? All right, it's the Monsterwatch video. They were in our studio a few years back. Obviously, they're a great band. You can do this. It should be queued up and ready to go. Come on.
Yeah, I think there's a video ready to go. You said a music video, right? Not some other kind of video.
Yes, a music video. I want you to play Monsterwatch. It's the tune they did for us when they were in the studio. I believe it was like 2017. It's titled Two Time. It's a really good song. So can you just hit play? How tough is this?
Yeah. Okay, here it is.
Say, Chance, do you think you could make a short statement before we sign off, kind of like a disclaimer for those watching who might be at a low point in their lives and be vulnerable to being involved with this furry crowd you seem to enjoy associating with, because it's just not a family-friendly activity?
I disagree with your assessment, Gerald. There are whole families who appear in costume at our conventions. Well, yeah, it's mostly single, horny guys, but there are a few moms and dads there with their kids, too.
My God, that is distressing news.
Well, in my view, if furries enjoy the camaraderie they experience at these conventions, who are we to judge them? I mean, look at the Renaissance fairs and those Barbie conventions. You know, there are times when people just need to cut loose and get their freak on.
Well, hey, I'll admit to going to, like a couple Lebowski fests years ago. It was kind of liberating to be in a room full of guys walking around in bathrobes.
Sure, that and a pair of testicles.
Hey, can I ask just what the heck is wrong with being a member of just the Kiwanis or the Masons?
That is not Chance's demographics, dude. I mean, maybe for your grandfather.
Oh, yes, Gerald. Those organizations, they're for old fogies.
Well, they've served my generation just fine. Thank you very much. We do not feel the need to dress up like a gosh darn animal to have a good time. We have fun in appropriate, casual attire.
Yeah, well, you kind of look like you're having too much fun right now in that lame DEA Men's Warehouse suit you have on. Hey, let me ask you, is that a new clip-on tie? I don't think I've seen that one before.
No. Look, I got a tie.
Well, whatever. All right, well, let me close this thing. All right. I am Spud Goodman. Be all that you can be, and I mean that. God bless and ciao.
Bye-bye.
All right, now, I'm gone. Later.
I gotta go now, too. I have to pee and it kinda takes me some time to get this off. I'll call you later, Dorothy. I'm out.
Oh, okay. I should exit too, Gerald. You know, it's happy hour someplace, so I will bid adieu.
Well, I guess I'm the last one on the screen. You know, I could use this moment to express what I was going to say before I was interrupted by Spud at the start. 7 seconds, it's not a lot of time to work with, as you probably know. The key to effectively communicate with others is to, number one, connect with them on an emotional level by